Hi boys and girls, it's story time, and today I'm going to be reading you a book about a rat, and I think that he's a very cute rat. The book is called That Pesky Rat. Now this rat lives in England, so some of the words in here are English. So see if you can work out the words that are different from the ones we use here in America. Okay, let's see what happens with Pesky Rat. Okay, that pesky rat. This is me. I am the one with the pointy nose and beady eyes, the cutesy one in the middle. I live in dustbin number 3, Grubby Alley. Every now and again, I come back to find that someone has emptied all of my belongings into a big van and driven off with them. It's very upsetting. There he is. Now what do you think the big van is that comes and takes all his belongings from the garbage can? I am a brown rat, a street rat, but people call me that pesky rat. I don't know why. They say I smell, but that's not my fault. It's the dirt. Sometimes when I am tucked into my crisp packet, I look up at all the cosy windows and wonder what it would be like to live with creature comforts, to belong to somebody, to be an actual pet. But most of all, I would like to have a name instead of just that pesky rat. There he is. Can you see him? My friend Pierre, who is a chinchilla, is looked after by a rich lady called Madame Fifi. He has a very glamorous life. He lives in the lap of luxury. I say I would quite like to live in a fashionable apartment and be fed chocolates while I sit on a feather cushion. He is there. There's his friend, Pierre. Pierre says, "It is not all cushions and chocolates. Madame Fifi has me shampooed at the pet parlour once a week." I hate having baths. I think I'm allergic to soap. There's Pierre, poor Pierre. He doesn't look like he likes being dried with the blow dryer, does he? Poor Pierre. Then there's this Siamese cat called Oscar. He lives with Mr. Washington, a busy businessman. Mr. Washington is always at work, so he doesn't have time to wash fur or be strict. If I lived there, I could do whatever I liked. Can you see Oscar and pesky rat? Oscar says, "Doing whatever you want can get a bit tiring after a while. I sometimes get a bit bored watching the same old shows on TV. I even have to get my own supper. I'm quite good in the kitchen, but I hate to be bored." Can you see Oscar cooking his fish fingers? He doesn't look very happy there, does he? A lop-eared rabbit I know called Nibbles works in a circus with Mr. Hoopla. It must be so exciting, never a dull moment, swinging on the trapeze 1 minute, tiptoeing on the high wire the next. Can you see Nibbles? Nibbles says, "It is quite fun hopping through hoops in a tutu, but sometimes I could do with taking off the clown's nose and putting my feet up. Maybe it's all a bit nerve-wracking for me." Can you see Nibbles? And there's Pesky Rat on the high wire. It would be a bit nerve-wracking, I think, wouldn't it? I think I'd quite like to be with one of those owners who does lots of sitting about, like Miss St. Clair. Her Scotty dog Andrew is always sitting by the fire, having supper on a tray, and they spend the evening doing puzzles together. Must be a very smart dog to do puzzles, don't you think? Andrew says, "On the whole, I feel very well looked after, and Miss St. Clair is good company, but it's rather embarrassing when we go out shopping." Miss St. Clair makes Andrew wear a little hat and coat. You see? They're matching, aren't they? I don't think clothes would suit me, but I would do anything to be somebody's pet. I think Pesky Rat looks quite smart, don't you? I like his sweater. So in the morning I go to the pet shop and ask Mrs. Twill if she has an owner who might want me. She says, "There isn't much call for brown rats, and I'm afraid you aren't very popular with the public." I say, "I don't see why not. I'd be very good company, always popping up when you least expect me to, and I'm happy to eat anything, even if it's slightly nibbled." Mrs. Twill says, "Well, you could always make a notice and put it in the window. You never know." Ooh, what do you think? A notice in the pet shop window? Oh, look. What's he doing? What's Pesky Rat doing? So I write, "Brown rat, looking for kindly owner, with an interest in cheese. Hobbies include nibbling and chewing. Would like a collar with my name. Would like a name. Would prefer no baths. Will wear a jumper if pushed. Yours keenly, Brown Rat." In brackets, that Pesky Rat. P.S. Sorry about the bad poor writing, and not a very good picture of me. You see how he's drawn a picture of himself? I think that's pretty good, don't you? Then I wait, and I wait, and I wait. That's the pet shop. Until... what's going to happen? Is someone going to come in? On Tuesday, old Mr. Fortescue is passing, and he stops to look at my notice. He has to really squint because he has bad eyesight. Then he looks at me and says, "My, haven't you got a pointy nose? And goodness me, what a long tail and such unusually beady eyes. I'll take him." I can't believe my luck, nor can Mrs. Twill. Mrs. Twill says, "Are you sure?" And Mr. Fortescue says, "Oh yes, I've been looking for a brown cat as nice as this one for ages." Mrs. Twill looks at me, I look at Mrs. Twill, and we both look at my notice. But neither of us says a word. Oh my goodness. I just love being a pet, and I am trying to be really helpful. I pick out the best cheeses using my excellent sniffing nose. I clean the kitchen by nibbling up the crumbs. I help Mr. Fortescue cross the road by scaring the traffic. And I always am there when he comes home. Oh yes, I think he's a very helpful pet, don't you? So here I am, finally a pet with a name. So what if I have to wear a little jumper? Mr. Fortescue says, "Well, Tiddles, who's a pretty kitty cat?" And I squeak, "I am." Isn't that funny, boys and girls?